I wanted to meet with you about your IGP. We just opened up a new IGP cycle, and I know you set a new goal for yourself in regards to academic feedback. And we just have our first reflection in there. And I noticed from reading your first reflection that you're really thinking about how you might address that goal through your classes. And you had some questions. And so I first wanted to tell you I appreciate your honest reflection, saying that you're not really sure where to go from there. And so we talked through it yesterday and agreed that a conference would probably be the best way that we could address that. So why don't you start by telling me what it is you want to accomplish with that goal?
Well, I want to get my score up from the 2 to something higher, at least a 3.
Okay.
And I think I incorporate academic feedback during my lessons. I use that to guide what I'm teaching. But I just want to be able to use student feedback and let them give feedback to each other more in my class. Well, I mean, they obviously are still getting used to working together. This group is really
Sure.
hard to get them to work together. So I think that's the biggest glitch I'm seeing, that some kids just shut down and won't work with their partner. So I'm still working on that.
Sure. Okay. So let's think about when you set your expectations for students in other ways, for your goal of the lesson or what you want them to do in the lesson. How do you go about setting those expectations for them?
Well, modeling, I always model with a student first, like this is what I would, or I do the problem and then they would check it. And just so they know exactly what to do, they have to initial the parts so they're accountable for their individual parts. And then I collect everything, and that's their group work instead of individual. So they know what they're accountable for. I've modeled it. We've been doing the same procedures all year, so they're getting used to it. I have a lot less resistance from students. Just there's still that few that I still need to work with because it's messing up the other partner, or they're ending up wanting to do the whole thing instead of just their part.
Perfect. So I was wondering about the modeling piece. Could you clearly model for them, not just your expectations for what you want them to do for the work, but your expectations of how you want them to work with that partner? When you've modeled for them, because it sounds like you have you called a student out to model with you?
I've done it both ways, where I've done a problem on the board and initialed it, and then they come up and check it. And I've also used 2 students, like I've had them work together on paper, and then I'll just show the paper to the class, like this is what I would expect if it was 2 students working together.
Perfect. So you have some visuals that are showing what it is that you would expect, and then you're also actually modeling for them those partner expectations. Have you thought about maybe giving them, to kind of scaffold them to where you want them to go, maybe giving them some sort of a template that actually lines up the exact kind of wording that you want them to give them with the feedback?
I haven't tried that yet.
Okay, maybe that could be a good next step. Since they're not used to giving that feedback to each other, and they're not used to the quality of the feedback that you're really wanting them to give,
Okay.
maybe you might set up for them some guiding questions that you could project on the overhead, or an actual piece of paper that you could give them to actually do the math on, and then write their comments next to it, kind of like a 2-column. The math is on the left, the feedback's on the right. And so maybe you give them some kind of structured sentences or questions that they'll either fill in or respond to in terms of what you're actually asking for. So what was done well, what might be done better, and then maybe you'll have that place for them to initial. And so it'll kind of structure it early on in the beginning here. They get them used to that routine that you're wanting to establish, and then as you see them getting used to that, maybe you might be able to eliminate that a little more, and they can do it on their own.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about trying that?
I think that sounds good. I'm always open for suggestions.
Okay, I know you are, and we appreciate it. So thinking about a lesson that you've planned coming up soon, either today or next week, since we're gone for a few days for the break, how might you be able to work that in? I don't know what your next objectives are, or how you might fit it in.
We're working on percents, so we're going to be working on taxes and tips.